Hey guys, it's Hurtsu coming to you with a review of the T26E5 Patriot. And do you want to buy this tank? So what I'm going to be doing with this tank today is training my T57 heavy crew. I really needed a heavy tank crew trainer, so I decided to go ahead and purchase the Patriot. And I'm going to go ahead and move my crew over into the tank, and I am going to also load up some personal reserves, because if you don't have time, you always want to be running personal reserves and you want to be running premium account, as I've told you in my previous videos. So I'm going to go ahead and load up the personal reserves. We're going to put in additional experience for 100%. I'm only going to be playing for an hour, so I'm also going to get a 200% crew experience for an hour and a 50% additional credits, because I want to earn some extra money for buying a tier 10 Russian TD that I need to purchase. So let's go ahead and see if the Patriot is worth the money for you to buy in the premium store. And also want to make sure that you're running gold on the on your premium rounds, so that you can save up some extra money. So running gold. Let's go find out what this thing plays like. Okay guys, let's go ahead and get into the video here. The reason I chose this replay wasn't because it was some master tanker replay or whatnot. I don't claim to be a super unicorn player. I'm just kind of an average player, not better than average. But this tank, I would be honest with you, I found it pretty difficult to continually have super successful games in this tank. Not from the perspective of earning money or getting experience, because this tank is excellent at doing both of those things. More from the perspective of getting, you know, in the top, master tanker type categories, or first class or second class. I've just found that really difficult with this tank, mainly because of the matchmaking with it. It seems to be getting something like the light type matchmaking, where you're always getting matched up against higher tier tanks. Of the 30 or so games that I'd played in the tank by this point, I think I'd maybe had 4 games where I was top tier. Every single other game I was either in a tier 9 game or a tier 10 game. So I just found it really difficult to continually, crank up those 2,000 to 3,000 points of damage games, because I was constantly having to shoot at tanks that have much better armor than me and also have much better guns than I do. So that's one of the things that I think is the drawback of this tank. I don't know if that's by design or just because this tank was available this weekend and I just happened to buy it, and so there was just a lot of people buying the tank, and maybe the matchmaking was reflecting that somehow. But at least, during this first weekend of playing it, I definitely found that I was always getting maxed up against higher tier tanks. The reason that I got this tank was to basically get through that last 1 or 2% of experience on my T57 heavy crew. I did not have a premium heavy tank, because the T57 heavy tank line, you need medium tanks to ascend through that line. So I actually got the M4 improved and the Fury Sherman when that was available, and that's how I advanced my medium crews that got me all the way up to the T57 heavy, which of course is a heavy tank. I did not have a heavy tank, and so when I was trying to get that last 1 or 2% experience on my 4th crew skill, and I looked at the experience chart that said I had 120 games or whatever it was in order to get that last 1% of experience for my 4th skill, I said, you know what, I'm not going to do that anymore. So that's kind of why I got this tank. As you can see, right off the bat, I took some shots at that E75, and I bounced them off the lower plate. So I immediately went to my premium APCR rounds. This tank only does fire APCR, so it has, with the standard rounds, like 200 penetration or so. That's fine for when you're the top tier tank. In fact, you will make a lot of money and you'll be very successful with that ammunition. But when you get in these tier 9 and tier 10 games, you basically have to load premium especially when you're fighting the other heavy tanks, because you just don't have the penetration to go through them. Especially like the E75. Even you probably saw that first shot I took at the lower plate, just bounced right off of it. So this, I don't know what this Revelorise is doing. He's just being silly, because that's not what that tank is for doing. You don't go and face hug a T10. It's it's made of paper mache. You need to let your heavy tanks and better armored tanks do that kind of pushing. So I don't know what he thought he was doing there, but a typical noob type move. So what you need to do with this tank when you're in these situations, which you will be in a lot, is just let the game come to you. So I see my counterpart on the enemy team over there, and I go ahead and I'm just going to try to keep him permatracked, and hopefully that my team will just do their best to take care of it. He goes ahead and returns the favor to me, but that's okay. He's the one that has shots on me right now, and I'm a little hidden. I'm getting shots on him, and I know my teammates are eventually going to take him out. And I think they do coming up here. So yeah, they go ahead and take him out. So that's kind of what you have to do with this tank, is just wait for your opportunities, let the game come to you. Don't be the guy that's pushing down the middle of the street when the other heavies are out there. I'm going ahead and take these shots on the M103 when he's not looking at me. Really, at this point in the game, we've done a pretty good job. We were outnumbered by 2 tanks, I think, at this position, and we did a really good job of holding off. My T110E4 and the T10 have done a good job of holding their positions and not taking damage when they didn't have to. At this point, I know that M103 is still out there, and so I'm just going to kind of peek out there. I snapshot him. I got a little lucky that he didn't get a shot off on me, but at this point, we really need to take out the tanks on this flank and go help our teammates, because we're about ready to. It looks like they're getting overrun over there on the northern part of the map. And that E75 went to go help his friends out in the middle. So we really, now that we've got the numbers, we've really got to go ahead and take out these tanks. So the T110E4, and I see their artillery is flying across the street there. I probably should have taken a snapshot at him, but really at this point I want to save my ammunition for the remaining heavy tanks, because I know that they're both, and I also see that we have their arty there. So I don't know what my shot bounced off of there. I don't know if there was some concrete there or something, but and then I take another shot, and of course I get a critical hit, and I do not take him out. So I see that the E70, I'm really waiting for that E75 to come around the corner. I see there are other artillery as well, so I blind shot, hopefully get the other one. There's the E75. I know I'm going to be in trouble here from that E75, so I take one shot at the artillery, and then I just kind of take out. I was going to take a shot at the Tiger 2, but he got hit as well. I take a shot at the E75. He dunks his shot. I miss mine. No harm, no foul. Again, I've got a couple lucky positions here, because both that M103 and that E75 probably should have hit me, and I probably should have been angling my armor more forward there, but I really wanted to be able to move in case I needed to get a better shot, or I needed to get off that bridge. So I probably could have been a little bit better position there, but at this point I'm not sure where the E75 is, so I'm just peeking around this corner hoping that he's not right there. There's their artillery. I take a shot at him. So he's a one shot for pretty much everything now. And there goes my did my T110 get him, or who hit him? Oh no, the artillery got him, good. So the artillery went ahead and took him out. Now it's just us 3 against the E75. So what I'm thinking at this point is that the E75 is actually going to go down that alleyway where the T110E4 is. That's probably what I would do, given that he knows that there's 3 of us here. He's probably not sure where the artillery's at. He's probably not sure where I'm at anymore either. So knowing that there's one tank that he does know the position of, and that would be the T110E4, he's got a pretty favorable matchup against that, so he might as well go ahead and go after him. At least that's what I would have done. Otherwise we're just going to surround him. So I go ahead and I peep up around here, trying to see if I can get some line of sight on him. Also maybe just some proximity. Maybe he's hiding at this corner. The T110's moving up. The artillery's moving up too. I'm not exactly sure why he's doing that. Maybe he just wants to get a more direct line of sight. But so obviously the E75 is not here. I'm a little worried he's kind of gone off to one of these corners here. But so the other thing is he's probably down this alley. So I went to go ahead and peep around here, and sure enough, there he is. So I take a shot, miss. He donks his shot as well. So now I know my T110E4 is going to be able to bully down this alleyway, and I'm going to go ahead and try to flank. That's really the best opportunity for us right now. The BC-155 artillery, as fast as that thing is, and the fact that it's an auto loader, he's going to be able to get some shots on this guy probably too. So we're basically just going to go ahead and surround this guy and get this over with. I'm the fastest. I probably got the best view range, so I'm just going to try to pop up here and see what I can see. I'm really surprised that the TD is not moving up down that alleyway. He really should be. I go ahead and I see the E75. I take my shot. He's got the momentum. He's going downhill, so I really have no choice but to move up. Luckily, I got my automatic fire extinguisher. It saves me. I take another shot into him. At this point, I'm really just trying to track him so that the other tanks can come to help. I take one more shot. Now I'm trying to get around him. And of course, I run into this other tank carcass. And I really thought that artillery was going to come in and take him out, and he does. So we win the game. Okay, guys, so here's a look at the post-game stats here. As you can see, I got pretty good experience here, but only was able to achieve a second-class mastery here. So, that's just kind of the indicative of this tank. And I got, as you can see, I got top experience on the game at 1,160, and that only netted me, again, a second class. So I think there's just a lot of people buying this tank and playing it right now, but that's okay. If you're looking for mastery badges, then that's kind of another pursuit. The reason I get this tank was for training and making some good money. So again, getting into the detailed report, look at the amount of money this thing made. I actually had some reserves going at this point, so I got 127K for this battle. So that's really good. That's really good money. That's really good experience. So training your crew and making some money with this tank is really, really a good idea. So I like this tank a lot for that reason. Again, if you're trying to buy this tank because you think it's some OP way to just kind of noob roll people, that may be true if you were always the top tier tank. But in this tank, the way that the matchmaking at least has been with me so far, you are not always going to be a top tier tank. In fact, more frequently than not, you are going to be either in a tier 9 or a tier 10 matchup. So you can still do really well. Just so you guys kind of have the ability to look at some of the other things that happen. So what I wanted to show you with this particular screenshot was a face roll match. So in this matchup, as you can see, we pretty much got roll stomped here, and I was still able to make pretty good credit. So again, I only was able to get off like 4 shots before we were completely overrun on the flank that I was on, and still was able to make 47,000 credits. Again, I was running personal reserves, and remember, this is if you've got money, so you should always be running personal reserves, always be running your premium tanks if you can. And I was able to make a lot of money and still pretty good experience for a dying at 4 minutes and having the battle only last 7. So even when you don't do well in this tank, you're still able to walk away with a decent amount of credits and experience. So getting back into the game here, the real question is this tank worth it? Is this tank worth purchasing? And the answer to that is absolutely yes. Even though you're not always going to be able to be as successful if you're just an average player in this tank, as long as you are playing smart with it, and as long as you are taking advantage of the shots that you're given when you're put into this poor matchmaking that this thing seems to get, you still are able to come out with a really good experience as far as getting money and getting your crews trained up. So bottom line is, absolutely get this tank. It's a lot of fun to play. Even when you don't get the best matchmaking, I think it's a fun tank to play. Really quick, I just wanted to show you something. Is if you do a tank compare here, this tank to me plays a lot like my T54 Mod 1. That's why I put it in here. The reason being is that this tank also has kind of crummy matchmaking, and it has really good armor for its tier. This is a medium tank, and I'm comparing it to the heavy tank, which is the Patriot. I'm also comparing it to another T8 American tank that you might be thinking of for a crew trainer. Just so you know, look at the DPM on this tank. The firepower on the Patriot is absolutely amazing. Even though it's got similar numbers to the T54 Mod 1 as far as the damage that it does per shot, look at the rate of fire on this thing. It's just absolutely incredible. And even though the T34 has much bigger alpha damage, it still doesn't have as good of overall firepower as the Patriot. So, again, the Patriot is actually, from a premium tank perspective, compares quite favorably to other premium tanks in its tier, and is what I would say is much more fun to play too. For a heavy tank, it's very fast. It's got pretty decent armor, and it's just an overall fun tank to play, especially given the fact that it's got really good DPM. So I definitely recommend getting this tank, especially right now that it's on sale. Get it. You won't be disappointed. You'll be able to train up your crew. So that's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.